Thank you for watching Why I Killed You TV. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this particular video and this particular YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate it. We're going to be talking about the Madeleine McCann case. Madeleine McCann's parents, lie detector, the fear behind their refusal, true crime. This story is just not about a little girl. It's about the strange behaviors of her parents, the unanswered questions, and the decisions that were made that continue to confuse people even years later. On May the 3rd, 2007, 3-year-old Madeleine was on vacation with her parents, Kate and Gerry McCann, in a small little town in Portugal. That night, the couple left their 3 small children sleeping in a holiday apartment while they went out for dinner nearby with friends. Approximately 160 feet away, they were eating at a restaurant from where their children were sleeping. They said they were checking on the children periodically every 20 to 30 minutes, but around 10 p.m., Kate, who's the mother, went back and discovered that Madeleine was gone. The bedroom window was open and the shutters appeared to be tampered with. That's when panic started. News spread very quickly. Posters of Madeleine went up all around the world. People everywhere followed the case. Celebrities spoke out. The media couldn't get enough. The McCanns became household names. But as days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months and months turned into years, there was no sign of that little girl. No one saw anybody take her. There was no clear evidence of a break-in, and slowly some people began to wonder, could the parents have done something with little Madeleine? The police in Portugal started looking into that very possibility. They brought in some cadaver dogs. These dogs were trained to detect the smell of death. These dogs reportedly alerted in the McCann's apartment and again in the rental car that the family had rented. That raised a lot of eyebrows. Some people believed that it meant that Madeleine had died there, but others said that the alerts were not enough to prove anything. The police couldn't build a solid case based on that information, and the McCanns were not charged. One thing that people still talk about to this very day is the lie detector test. Kate and Gerry McCann were asked to take a polygraph test, a test that measures signs of stress when somebody answers questions, but they didn't take the test. They said that their lawyers told them not to, and maybe that's true, but to many people, refusing to take the test looked a little very suspicious. Some asked if they didn't do anything wrong, why wouldn't they take the test and prove it? Others say that the lie detector tests aren't always reliable and shouldn't be trusted. But the fact remains, the test was never taken, and the decision created a shadow of doubt that has never fully gone away. This is where fear behind their refusal began. Maybe they were afraid of failing the test, even though they were innocent. Lie detector tests don't necessarily measure lies, they measure stress. An innocent person under pressure could still show signs of deception, but maybe the fear wasn't about taking the test or the test being wrong. Maybe it was about something deeper. Were they afraid that something would be revealed, something they did not want the world to know? Over the years, both Kate and Gerry have done some interviews and released some statements, but sometimes their words have caused some more suspicion. Viewers online have pointed out that they believe that they had some Freudian slips, moments where people accidentally say something they truly are thinking without meaning it. In one interview, Kate said she was, when she was talking about Madeleine, using the past tense, before quickly correcting herself. That one word caused people to wonder if Kate had already accepted the fact that Madeleine wasn't coming back. In another case, Gerry was quoted as saying, "We've done all we can, short of," and he didn't finish the sentence. People have tried to guess what he was going to say. Was that just a slip? Or was he about to admit something very serious? Social media hasn't helped either. People have taken screenshots of comments, slowing down videos, and shared clips of interviews where McCann's body language seemed to be very strange. Kate often looked stiff. Gerry, on the other hand, smiled in ways that felt out of place. None of this is proof of anything, but in the court of public opinion, small things like this can cause some big red flags. People began reading into everything, their choices of words, their reactions, their silence at certain times. The lie detector refusal became a symbol, a moment where the truth might have been revealed, but it wasn't. As investigators dragged on, new theories came up. Some say Madeleine had been kidnapped by a stranger. Others believe she might have died accidentally in the apartment and her death was being covered up. There were even theories about organized crime, child trafficking, and government cover-ups. The McCanns hired a private investigator and ran public awareness campaigns. Their campaign was called Find Madeleine. They raised money and kept her face in the media, but even that made some people very suspicious. Why so much focus on the media and fundraising? Was it all a part of a plan to shape the story, or were they simply doing something that could possibly bring their daughter back home? Years later, the McCanns, they remain very firm in their belief that Madeleine was taken and she is still out there. But critics haven't forgotten the parts of the story that just don't add up. Why were there no signs of forced entry in the apartment? Why were the children left alone in a foreign country? Why didn't the twins wake up if somebody had broke in? And most of all, why did they refuse to take the lie detector test? The police handling the case, they were also criticized. They didn't lock down the scene right away. Tourists and locals were able to walk in and out of the apartment complex in the hours after Madeleine disappeared. Evidence might have been lost or contaminated because of this fact. Over time, the relationship between the Portuguese police and the McCanns became very tense. The parents felt like they were being blamed. The police believed that the McCanns were not being honest. In the middle of it all still was a missing child. In 2020, the case took a new turn. German police announced that they had a new suspect, their only suspect, Christian Brückner. He was a convicted sex offender, and he had been living in Portugal at the time of his disappearance. He had a long criminal history and was already in prison for unrelated crimes. Some hoped that this would finally solve the case, but as of now, there is no solid link between him and Madeleine. No new evidence has ever been shared with the public, and the case, once again, has gone quiet. Through all of this, the lie detector test still remains one of the most talked about decisions in the entire investigation. It wasn't just about proving innocence. It was about the trust. It was about public perception. It was about fear. Refusing the test gave people a reason to doubt, a reason to wonder. And even though the McCanns have explained their reasons, many still ask the same question. What were they so afraid of? To this day, nobody knows for sure what happened to little Madeleine McCann. She would have been a young adult, 22 years old, if she would have survived. But the world only remembers her as a smiling little 3-year-old with blonde hair and big eyes, a child who had vanished one night, leaving behind a mystery that has never been solved. Her parents, the investigators, the public, they all carry the weight of that night. But it's the unanswered questions like the lie detector test that keeps this story alive. In true crime, it's often not just what happened, it's about what didn't happen. And in this case, the test never took place, and it still holds some power. It's a reminder that sometimes silence can speak louder than words. Maybe the McCanns were telling the truth. Maybe they were terrified of being falsely accused. Or maybe the fear behind their refusal was rooted in something a little deeper. Only they truly know. Thank you for watching Why I Killed You TV. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more stories that explore mysteries that still haunt the world.
They hate you. You're gonna die. I don't want to do this.